And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed. To you it shall be for food. Genesis 1:29. Man did eat angels' food. He sent them meat to the full. Psalm 78:25. Everyday Manna with Lisa.
Hi everybody, and welcome to Everyday Manna. Today we are going to make something I bet most of you love, and that is chicken and dumplings, only we are going to do a quick, easy version that I promise you can do any day of the week when you get home from work or school or whatever it is that you do during your day. We're going to make a quick, easy version. To go alongside that, we're going to make some roasted carrots with a thyme butter glaze on them, and then an iceberg wedged salad with a homemade Russian vinaigrette. We're going to get started with our carrots. Now, I have my oven preheated to about 425, 450, anywhere in there is fine. In this pan, I have a couple of tablespoons of butter that I have melted and 1 tablespoon or so of a canola oil, vegetable oil, olive oil, whatever you have on hand. Then I'm going to add about a teaspoon of salt and about a teaspoon or so of dried thyme, just to kind of add a little flavor. I'm just going to kind of stir those up just a little bit. And I'm going to pour it over the carrots. Now I have lined my baking sheet with aluminum foil just for ease of cleanup, because I don't want to have to wash and scrub a pan. So I line my pans all of the time. Let's just kind of stir those together. And you know what? Clean hands. Cook's best tool. The easiest way in the world to do it and get them coated evenly. You just kind of want to coat all those carrots. That thyme in that hot butter just smells fabulous, which thyme is one of my favorite seasonings anyway. Now I'm going to add a little bit of fresh pepper. I just ground up a little bit in the bottom of my thing. I'm going to add a little bit of that over top because I like pepper. Now if you don't like pepper on your carrots, then you don't have to add that, but it's up to you. It's your recipe. We're going to put these in the oven and they're going to roast. And if you have never roasted carrots, you are in for a treat because they become sweet and delicious, and that butter will just kind of brown just a little bit and it will be fabulous. So we're going to get those in there and just forget about them and let them roast away. Now we're going to get started on our chicken and dumplings. And I have a pot here. Now mine is just an enamel coated cast iron, but you can use whatever you have on hand. And I'm going to use some store-bought chicken broth. This is a 32-ounce box. You can use homemade if you have it, which would be even better. But I don't have time to make homemade stock today. So we are just going to use canned chicken broth, which I think is delicious. I'm going to gauge this as I go along. You can add a little water to it if you don't like your broth to be real chickeny, but I do. I have 1 can of cream of chicken soup. Now remember, we're making chicken and dumplings, so you want it to be sort of thick. Now, of course, our dumplings will kind of help take care of that a little bit too. And I'm adding 1 can of cream of celery soup, because I love the flavor of celery in anything. And I love this particular soup, and I think it's an underutilized cream soup. Most people get the cream of chicken or the cream of mushroom, which you could use by all means. If you wanted to use the cream of mushroom soup in here, you could, no problem. We just want to get this warm. So I'm going to put it on like medium high heat, and I'm going to let that soup kind of thin out a little bit and get warm. And here's where the quick part of this chicken and dumplings come in. Traditionally, you would use a whole chicken that you poach in the broth and make your own stock, but we're not going to do that today. I love these little rotisserie chickens that you get in the grocery store. Most of the time they're on sale for like $3.99 or $4.99, and I'm telling you, you can't hardly roast your own chicken at home. By the time you buy the chicken and you use the electricity and all of that stuff, for that amount of money. And it's ready to go, it's hot. This particular one is lemon pepper flavored, but because they didn't have any plain in my store this morning, so I used the lemon pepper flavoring. Now, probably would not use the barbecue for this recipe. Sometimes they come in a barbecue flavor, but they are very good, but not for this recipe. So I'm going to use 1 whole rotisserie chicken. I'm taking the skin off because I don't want that in my chicken and dumplings. And these little things are delicious, absolutely delicious. I love these little rotisserie chickens. I think the flavor is marvelous, and it's easy, and it's quick, it's convenient, and it really, truly is not that expensive. And the meat, as you can see by what I'm doing here, the meat just falls off the bone. I'm going to use the dark and the light. Now, this is one of those recipes, if you have happened to have roast chicken left over, from supper the night before, or lunch or whatever, then this is a fabulous recipe to use leftover chicken. You could even use leftover turkey if you have, maybe you've cooked a turkey for a meal at your home and you have leftover turkey. And most of us do when we have a turkey and we don't know what to do with it. Well, you can make soups, and you can eat sandwiches, and you can make turkey salad and all that, but you can also make, well, we'll call it turkey and dumplings. So that's another use for your leftover turkey at holiday. But, this is chicken and dumplings, so we're gonna use the rotisserie chicken. And we're just taking this meat off, and I'm just using my fingers, just kind of getting it in bite-sized pieces. This is a very rustic dish. This is not one of those, for lack of a better term, one of those foo-foo-y dishes that you would get in a restaurant. This is Southern home cooking, and most people adore chicken and dumplings. And honestly, to make them from scratch can take some time. On a weeknight, most of us do not have. If you have children like I do, by the time you get them home from school and get them situated and homework done, it's supper time, and you need something that you can get on the table quickly, a good nutritious meal for your family. And chicken and dumplings, it just doesn't get more comfort food than that. The wings, my little Aaron would have already eaten those down to the bone. He loves chicken wings. You want about probably 2 cups or so of the chicken. Now, I will tell you, in the package that this comes in, when it sets, it leaches out a little bit of that juice. You absolutely do not throw that away. Put that right in there, which I did before you joined me. I put just that little bit of the juices that came out of the chicken down in that pot with my stock and my celery soup. I'm just gonna keep taking the skin and the meat off of this chicken, discarding the bones. I'm just gonna get it just like this, and when I come back, I'm gonna show you how to finish up these chicken and dumplings. We're gonna eat some carrots, and we're gonna make a homemade salad dressing. I'll be back with you in just a minute. And welcome back. Now we've got our chicken. This is all the meat off of that rotisserie chicken. Our broth is simmering away. You want this not to be at a rolling boil, but kind of a little more than a simmer. This is our cream of chicken soup, cream of celery soup, and our chicken stock. I'm gonna add about a teaspoon of thyme and about half a teaspoon of dried sage. Be very careful with your sage because it's a very strong flavored herb. And some people don't even put this in theirs, but I do. We were talking over the break. This brings up a good point. Your mama probably makes chicken and dumplings her way. My mom makes it her way. This is my way. So this is one of those things, this might not be your mom's chicken and dumplings. This is a quick chicken and dumpling recipe. Now, that is good. I do have another box of stock on hand in case I need to thin that down a little bit. There are two schools of thought on dumplings. There are drop dumplings and there are rolled dumplings. Drop dumplings are sometimes canned biscuits and sometimes homemade dough that they drop by the tablespoon down in the broth, and that leaves a fluffier, cloud-like, if you will, dumpling. Myself, I like flat dumplings. If you like the fluffy, doughier dumplings, get a can of the biscuits, just, the Southern style buttermilk type canned biscuits. Cut them into 4 pieces each and drop in there. If you're getting the big, huge ones, you might want to do 6 pieces. But if you're getting the little canned biscuits and you just want to quarter them into 4 pieces and drop it in here. I'm using frozen dumplings that you just buy in the freezer department. Sometimes they come cut up in little pieces, and sometimes, like these, they come in sheets like this. I don't want that big of a dumpling, so I'm going to cut them into, well, we might just break them. This is rustic. My knife's not wanting to go through there. Don't thaw these out before you cook them, or you will end up with a mess, I promise you. Drop your dumplings down into your broth, and you might need to separate them if they don't come apart, but that's okay. These need to take, it depends on what you're cooking. If you're using the biscuity type, 10 minutes or so, read your package directions because different dumplings take a different amount of time. These take about 8 to 10 minutes, something like that. Now notice my chicken isn't in there yet because I want to gauge the thickness. These are coated with flour. And what does flour do? Flour thickens your soups or your stews or your roux, that kind of thing. So I want to kind of gauge this based on the dumplings. And if I need to add a little more stock, I have some standing by. So separate your dumplings and get them in there. And just kind of let them bubble away about 10 minutes in that broth, and you got quick dumplings. If you don't want to add chicken, maybe you're not, you don't want to have the chicken in there, you by all means could leave that out and just have dumplings. Some people really just like the dumplings. And that's okay. If that's what you want to have, then, just do dumplings. But you can, like I said, if you don't, maybe you like the biscuity type dumpling, get a can of the biscuits or make your own, whatever you want to do. And do the same thing, up to this point and just use your favorite kind of dumpling. Everybody's different. But these frozen dumplings, this one's wanting to stick together there. Just take a knife, be careful. That isn't something I'd let my kids do. I would probably do that myself if I were working with one of my children. I probably wouldn't let them separate that with the knife. But anyway, if you like the other, then feel free to substitute with the other. These thaw very quickly once you get them out of the freezer. And I do leave these in the freezer until the last minute, and I'm ready to drop them in. Oh, smells so good. I so wish you could smell this. I don't like the big strips. Maybe you do. If you do, leave them whole. But I like them to be a little less big. I like a little smaller bite sizes. This is comfort food at its best. Everybody likes chicken and dumpling, or pretty much everybody. I don't know too often many people that don't. But it's good. And then my last little dumpling, just this one whole package, because we really like a lot of dumplings in mine. That's kind of the whole point. And there we go. These take about 8 minutes. Our carrots, remember, are roasting in the oven. And let's see what we've got. Let's get our spoon. Now, you watching? You see how that just kind of thickens up that broth? And I do think I need to add a little more. Whoops, I'm about to forget you. Go in there. I think I do need to add a little more stock because those dumplings are coated with cornstarch or flour, and you don't want it to be too thick, but you certainly do want your dumplings to cook through in a good amount of liquid. Look at that. Yum, yum. Can you see that? Oops, my bay leaf. Get down in there. You want to remove those bay leaves before you serve. I added a couple. And then, once you get that in there and you kind of gauge your thickness, let's turn you up just a hair. Add in your chicken. Yum. Now see, you could do this any night of the week and have a good meal for your family. Someone maybe's not feeling well and they just want something comforting. Look at that. Chicken and dumplings. Oh my. How good that looks. I don't think I need to add any more stock, but I'll just kind of gauge it. If you don't want it to be quite as rich, I would add 1 box. I love this chicken. These bay leaves just do not want to stay down in there, do they? I would add 1 box of the chicken stock and then maybe add a couple or 3 cups of water, and it won't be quite as rich. These just need to simmer. I'm going to put the lid on, but kind of leave it a little bit off and let a little of that steam escape. I just want to build up the heat to get those dumplings to cook. You don't want this to be at a rolling boil. You kind of want it a little bit more than a simmer, in between a rolling boil and a simmer. I'm just going to clean up and get my salad fixings ready to go and check on the carrots, take a quick break, and I'll be back with you in just a minute. And the best part, we're going to eat these chicken and dumplings. I'll be back in a minute. All right, now our chicken and dumplings, let's go to the pot and look. They look and smell delicious. Look at that. Look how good that looks. Chicken and dumplings. They need about 5 more minutes to cook. You need to read your package directions. If you're using the frozen flat ones like I do, some take about 10 minutes, some take about 30 minutes. So read your package directions. If you're using the biscuits, the drop biscuits, about 10 or so, that'll be fine. To go alongside that with our carrots, we're going to make a salad, and we're going to do the old-fashioned, just a wedge of iceberg lettuce that has kind of, gone by the wayside, but iceberg lettuce is good, and it's crunchy, and it's delicious. So you just core a head of iceberg and cut just a wedge, just like this, and I like it, serve it cut side up so the dressing can get down in all of those little nooks and crannies. We're going to make our own dressing. We're going to make a Russian dressing. Of course, you could use blue cheese or whatever you like. I'm making enough to make, 4 or 5 salads. I have about ½ a cup of mayonnaise, and we're going to use about 1/4 of a cup of ketchup, about 1/4 of a cup of chili sauce, whatever kind you like. This is the Thai style, but you can use the chili sauce that you buy alongside the ketchup and the cocktail sauce for shrimp, whichever you like. This is a little hotter. and a little bit of salt, about half a teaspoon or so of salt, and some pepper. I like a lot of pepper, so I'm going to add about a teaspoon or so of just ground up pepper in your homemade little Russian salad dressing. Couldn't be easier. And there you go. Just a quick, easy little dressing for your family. And you know what? It costs a whole lot less to make it yourself than it does to buy the bottled salad dressings. Not that I don't ever buy bottled salad dressing, I do, but a lot of them have a lot of preservatives and things in it that I don't want to serve my family. And then just take however much you like. I myself don't like a whole lot of salad dressing on my salads. I just don't. I like to taste the vegetables or whatever's in there. And then, of course, you got to have a little bit of bacon crumbled up, just some cooked bacon, just crumbled over top of your wedge. And then if you want to put a little bit more pepper over top, that would be fine with me. Maybe just a sprinkling of salt to flavor that lettuce. And there you go. There's a homemade Russian salad dressing over an iceberg wedge of lettuce. Now, our chicken and dumplings are about done. Let's chop some parsley to go over top. Just a little bit of a garnish, but it also adds flavor. You know, parsley does add like a grassy flavor to your meals. I'm using curly leaf today because my store did not have flat parsley. I usually use the flat leaf, but it's okay if you can't find it. Use the curly leaf. It has a fresh herbal scent to it, completely edible. A lot of people think that parsley's just a garnish. Well, it is a garnish, but it also is an herb that adds a freshness to a dish that cooks for a while, simmers for a while. I like to add a little freshness to my food. Chop it fine. My carrots are done. You know, roasting vegetables, if you're a person that thinks you don't like a lot of vegetables, try roasting them. It brings out a total different flavor to your vegetables. Roasting it intensifies the natural sugars that are inside your vegetables. I roast everything. Broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, celery, potatoes, onions, zucchini, yellow squash, tomatoes, whatever vegetable. Even, listen, let me tell you, take kale or spinach, wash it and dry it, drizzle it or spray it with the cooking spray or drizzle it with a little bit of olive oil, lay it out on a sheet pan, put it in your oven. It gets crispy and delicious, fabulous, fabulous dish, and it's healthy. You're getting greens in your diet, and you know, we all need to increase our fiber and our iron and all of those things, and I find most people do not eat enough vegetables. I myself am a huge veggie eater. I love it. Now my kids not so much. I'm working on them. But I heard a lady say one time, vegetable eaters are made, they're not born, and I think that's true. So here is our beautiful chicken and dumplings. Look at that. Let's take out our bay leaves because you do not want to eat those bay leaves. And let's serve this up and garnish it. Here are my carrots. Let's try one here. Carrots alongside. Oh, look how good. I know you dumpling lovers out there, your mouth is watering. And you see how that chicken just kind of shredded up in that dish? That's what you want. If you don't want it to shred up, don't add it till about the last 5 minutes. And then add a little green, a little fresh to that top of your chicken and dumplings. And I myself, you know me, I like pepper. So I am going to add a sprinkling of freshly ground pepper over top. And there, my friends, is quick chicken and dumplings. That's a meal that you can make any day of the week. The traditional chicken and dumplings takes a very long time. You got to poach the chicken. make your stock, that kind of thing, which if you have time, they're fabulous. They're absolutely fabulous. But you know, we're busy people and we don't always have time to do things from scratch. So this is a quick, easy one. Remember, we started with boxed chicken broth. The boxes of chicken broth, I cannot emphasize to you strongly enough, are delicious and they're good. And I always get the reduced sodium. And we just heated that up with a can of chicken soup and a can of cream of chicken and cream of celery. And then we used frozen dumplings. In the way that I like them is the flat dumplings. If you like the drop dumpling style chicken and dumplings, just don't buy the frozen ones and get the can of the biscuits. Now myself, I think the small biscuits, you know the ones I'm talking about, they come most of the time packed 4 in a container, the 4 rolls of biscuits. The smaller ones as opposed to the ones that are like this, I think they're better. I like the Southern style or the buttermilk. Cut them in quarters. I wouldn't use the flaky ones, and then just drop it in and let your dumplings cook, and then add in your chicken with a little sage and a little thyme and a couple of bay leaves and let it simmer. It's quick, it's easy, it's delicious. Roasted carrots and our beautiful green salad with a homemade Russian dressing. Try these recipes, let me know what you think, and keep cooking for your family. Get your kids in the kitchen with you, and we will see you next time on Everyday Manna.
Thank you for watching Everyday Manna with Lisa. This program is made possible by viewers like you. Your support is continually needed to keep Christian programming on the air. Please send your best financial gift to Living Faith Television in care of Everyday Manna. P.O. Box 1867, Abingdon, Virginia 24212.